Okay. Now, see, in this way we are accessing variable, in this way we are accessing method names itself. Okay. Let us check through programmatically how we can access all these things. Just I'm going to add a new program here. Okay. M of ex1 static void main. This is the main method. So here what I'm going to do is I would like to add I would like to take a new class. Okay, this is nothing but our predefined class. I'm going to create my own class. Okay, class. So I gave a name as my class itself. So now I'm going to create some variables here. Public int pq. Okay. So under this class, I would like to take one more method. Okay, get data. Under this method, I'm going to ask user, please enter p comma q values. Here, I'm passing the values to the p equal to convert dot to int of 32 of console dot read line. Similar way, I'm using for q also. So now I'm going to display value of p is console.writeLine, value of q is. Okay, see, this is a class. Under this class I declared this is called data members, and this is called member function. Member function, see, if your data members and member functions are associated with this class, if this class is outside of your main class, then we have to see, I already told you, in order to access the members of a class and class members, then we have to create an object, right? So generally, in order to create an object, I'm using my class, so class name, so and then my class space obj, class name space obj. Obj is nothing but object name. You have to give anything. So my class. So now, so generally I'm going to access this get data method. So in order to access a method, we know the process obj dot. So just simply I can access get data, and just I'm going to display console dot read line. Okay, just I'm going to execute this this program. So in order to execute this, I'm going to set the startup object. Please enter pq values 10 8. So now the value of p is 10, value of q is 8. From this method we are getting an output. So now what I'm going to do is, see here, so generally as we discussed with the methods, so this is an enhancements with the methods. So generally, so method contains some parameters, okay, parameters. Then we can call, if method contains some parameters, then we can call it as an parameterized method. Means Say for example, I will give a syntax for a parameterized method. Syntax access modifier space return type space method name of, okay, data type space variable name. Here we can provide some sort of instructions. Okay, so if method contains some parameter, then we can call it as a parameterized method. Means if you are passing any parameter, this is nothing but, here we have provision to pass parameters and we don't have a provision to pass. Suppose here I am taking an example. So just I am taking one variable public, okay, integer square of a given number. Okay, so generally I want to, like, present the square of a, I want to calculate a square of one number. Okay, that square I would like to take one variable here, int, my variable is nothing but num, nothing but this is one parameter. Okay, so now I'm giving square is nothing but number into number, right? So suppose 5 square is nothing but 5 into 5, like that. So whatever the number that we are passing here, so we are multiplying the same number with that number, so automatically that is nothing but a square of a number. So now what I'm going to display here is console dot write line, please enter a number. So just I'm displaying this. So I would like to take one variable here, one integer variable, because we need to pass some input to the particular function. So just I'm using converter dot to int 32 of console dot read line. Okay, so now I'm going to use, so this square of a number, just I'm going to take one more variable that is nothing but result, res equal to, so obj dot square of a given number of a. So here I'm taking an a as a value from the user. What are the value that user given, that I provided here. So now square of is, here I'm using a comma res. So just I'm executing this program. Please enter value q. Okay. Please enter a number. Suppose I entered 6. So square of 6 is 36. So it means here this is an example for parameterized method. Okay. So likewise we can take multiple number of n number of parameters. Suppose I am taking a string as one more thing. One more method. Here I want to pass two parameters. Here you can pass multiple number of parameters as per your requirement. Suppose I'm taking like two variables, string f name and l name. Okay. Here I'm going to display return first name plus, so just I'm going to give some space and then I'll give last name. So here string f name fn comma ln. So just we are asking a user, please enter your first name and last name. Okay, so fn equal to console dot read line, ln equal to console dot read line. Okay, here I'm going to pass these values. Console.line full course name is, just I'm taking obj dot, our method name is nothing but get full name, right? Get full name. Here we have to pass two variables. One is f name and other is l name. So we have variables fn, ln. Here you can pass. So now you are displaying your output under this console statement. So here is also a parameterized method, but it is taking two parameters. Likewise, you can take n number of parameters as per our requirement, and this method returns a string as a return type, and earlier method returns integer as a return type, and but it is taking only single parameter. Likewise, we can make n number of operations with the help of this method and the class approaches. So whenever you are declaring a class outside of your main class, then we can accessing those members with the help of an object of a particular class. 10, 20, well you have to enter, please enter a number. So just I'm entering 7. So square of 7 is 49. Please enter your first name. So my first name is C sharp, and then I'm using .NET. The last name full course is C sharp .NET. Likewise, we can display, like we can work with an class and object hierarchy with the help of you know object relations for a particular class. Okay, this is about an object. Any queries so far? Hello?
Yeah, everything good so far.
Okay, okay, thanks. Okay, now we'll check our next topic. So in this way we can accessing the members of a class with the help of our object, right? So
Okay.
now we'll check. Okay. We can work with constructors. Okay.
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 What
So
about method overloading and all that?
yeah, we will come to this. The polymorphism is a
Okay.
concept in which in that we'll cover all those things. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Constructor. Okay. Uh, Name itself indicates that it initializes a value. Values whenever we are creating an object for a class. Okay. Suppose constructor is as similar to a class. Okay, but there is a difference. If you are creating an object for a class, then automatically constructor will initialize a values, okay, for a particular class. Okay, generally, say for example, I would like to give a syntax for a constructor. The syntax, so access modifier space class name, and then you can write something here. Okay, means it indicates that always constructor should be inside a class. Okay, that is mandatory. So whenever we are creating an object, so then no need to call explicit approaches. Generally, if we have a method, so consider this as a method. If you want to call this method, definitely by using an object we are calling, right? So yeah, similarly, if you declare a constructor here, we no need to call explicitly. By default, it will call. When we are creating an object for particular class, then automatically your constructor will invoke, means which is all internally calling, and it will it will perform some operation, whatever the operation that we declared in that, and then so that it provides an output to the end user. So that is the use of an constructor. Means constructor name itself indicates that it initializes, it constructs at the time of object creation. Okay, it inserts values whenever we are creating an object for a class. Okay, syntax is access modifier space class name. So here we have some note points here. So name of the class and your constructor name should always be same. Means here whenever we are dealing with the methods, so method is like access modifier, return type, method name we have to give any name whatever we are feeling comfortable. But whereas in the case of there is no constructor, there is no return type here, and there we don't need to give the any name, we have to give the only the class name. Say for example, if I want to create an constructor for this class, so my constructor name is my class only, so we no need to give any other names. If you are giving any other names, then it will be treated as a method itself. Okay, here constructors are divided into following types. And one more thing is there is no written type for a constructor. And public is an access specifier we have to use unless it is in private constructor. Okay, so here we have different types of constructors. I think one is a default constructor, parameterized constructor, copy constructor, okay, default parameterized copy constructor. Next is static constructor, next is private constructor. Okay, so example for normal constructor is public my class, and we can provide our own implementation. Okay, so we'll go with one by one default constructor. Okay, if constructor does not if constructor doesn't have any parameters, then we can call it as an default constructor. Okay, means here there is no parameters, right? Then we can call it as a default constructor. If we have a parameter, if a constructor has a parameters, then we can call it as a parameterized constructor. If constructor having parameters, then we can call it as a parameterized constructor.
Okay.
Copy constructor, this constructor is used to take the reference from the parameterized constructor. Means, so here it is copying some values from the existing parameterized constructor. What are the values that are available with parameterized constructor that we can share with the copy constructor? That is the basic purpose of copy constructor. Static constructor. If we declare a constructor in a static class, then we can call it as an static constructor. Private constructor, if we intended to do not create an object for a class, then we can create an private constructor. Okay, suppose see, whenever we are creating an object, okay, so generally by defaultly we have default constructor. Okay, if we declare any private constructor, here we don't have a provision to create an object for a particular class. Okay, so that if we are intentionally restrict to create an object for a class, then an alternative solution is we have to create a private constructor. Then automatically private constructor does not allow us to create an object for a particular class. Okay, let us see an examples of all this so that we will get a clarity on all these items. Okay, just I rename this class. See, here we have one more thing. So generally, if you want to, we are dealing with the same namespace, right? If you want to create a same name, means duplicate names in the same namespace, it gives an error. So that we can avoid to give a same names under a same namespace itself. Means always namespace always expects a different class names, not same class names. Okay,
Okay.
duplicating of class names should always avoid whenever we are dealing with the same namespace. Okay, so that here I am giving const class. Okay, means constructor class. Just I give a name like this. Suppose I want to create some, like two variables here itself in DAB. Okay, so just here what I'm going to do is I would like to create one constructor, right? Public, so const class. This is my constructor. Okay, so generally, so I provide one message here, default constructor called here. Okay, so here I'm using const class space obj equal to new const class. Okay, now I'm using just I create an object here, that's it. Console dot readline. I'm creating a startup object for this one. So just see, I didn't do anything. I just create an object for a particular class. Automatically, constant class is executed. So means this constructor is executed, and it provides an output to you. Okay, that is an advantage with constructor. So generally, if it is a method, we have to call that method explicitly, right? But here,
Right.
because of the constructor, so once you create an object, automatically it will calls. Say for example,
Okay.
here I am going to create one more object for the same class, obj1, so that it will calls one more time. Default constructor called here. Likewise, so once you create an object, then automatically it will calls. Okay. So here
Okay.
I'm going to assign some values for a and b equal to, like, something 12 here itself. Okay.
Okay.
This is our default constructor. Okay. Default
Okay.
constructor. Okay. Now I'm going to take one more constructor, that is nothing but parameterized constructor. If you want to create a constructor, so just we have shortcut key, that is CTOR. Type CTOR, then click double tap, so that automatically constructor will be created. Okay.
Okay.
Just I want to take two values here, int p, int q. Okay. Just p equal to, I'm assigning p equal to a. So for example, p equal to b. Okay. P equal to a, p equal to b. Like that, I can pass some values.
Okay.
Just a
So then it
minute.
becomes 10 and 12, right?
Yeah, yeah, just a minute. Like, I have a small call.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay. So now, see, for P I'm assigning A, and as well as for Q I'm assigning B. Okay. See, in order to call this constructor, so just how we are going to call is, so this is a different approach, like class obj1 equal to new constructor of class. See, this is a parameterized constructor, right? So we have to pass some values to this. Okay, means it is expecting two integer values. So that's the reason where I'm using this. So here value of p is first p, and value of q is like this. Okay, I'm going to execute this program. See, value of p is 0, value of q is 0. So like that, it is providing an output for us. See, why it is providing an output like this? Let us check. Okay, so now, so we'll display these two things here itself. Value of a is, see, value of a is 10 and value of b is 12. It is coming correctly, but whenever we are calling value of p and value of q, then it is displaying 0 0 as an output, because those a b, okay, those a and b, we are assigning those values in this constructor level only, right? So that these values are limited to in this constructor only. What is globally here, what are the values globally? We have a values of 0. If you are not passing anything, means by default it is a default value, right? 0 0. Say for example, if I give global values like as 3 4, means now your output becomes so different. So your output is nothing but, it is providing 3 4 as an output. Okay. So in this way, so in parameterized constructor, So this is a global value declaration. So even though we are passing 10, 20, it is taking the values from the global variables because we are assigning that global variables here itself. Okay. Now let us check. I commenting this part. Now let us check. So what was the value of P and what was the value of Q? Now at this point of time, your value of P is 10 and your value of Q is 20. So just I am executing this program. So now check, value of P is 10, value of Q is 20. Because we are passing 10, 20 values here, so that output becomes 10, 20. In this way we will work out with the parameterized constructor. Okay. So and other is copy constructor. See, I already told you, no. Copy constructor is nothing but it is getting the values from the parameterized constructor and those values will be utilized here itself. See here, in order to get those values we required a class, okay, because from the class only we are getting those values. So that's the reason I want two variables, that is constant class A and constant class B. So now when I'm using these two, so just I'm adding A plus B here itself, or something you can take it as LM, okay, because don't confuse. So why? Because I take different variables because we don't want to confuse these two things. So generally L dot, for L we have A plus L dot B, okay, nothing but L is nothing but an object for this class, M is nothing but object for this class. Now let us check how we will work out with this, how we will call this copy constructor. Okay, now in order to call this copy constructor, just I am creating one more class obj2 equal to new constant class obj1. Okay, I just I just enough with one parameter, that's it. I just take obj1, means here this is a parameterized constructor. This is the process of calling a parameterized constructor. So parameterized constructor contains two values 10, 20. So those two values will be copied here and those copied values will be utilized here itself. So now we will check. Sum of two numbers is 7 itself. So whatever the values that we declared as a global variables, those values will be comes to the picture and we will use those values in this copy constructor. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So private constructor. So this is the syntax for private constructor, but we never use, like, this is not a regular scenario. So 99% we should avoid this private constructor. If we intended to restrict an object creation, so then only we'll go within private constructor. Okay, so just I take a private constant class. Okay, just when I'm creating an, see, just when I'm running this program, just it is giving an error. It is nothing but already defines a member called class with the same parameters. Okay, so just if I want to restrict this one, I'm going to restrict this one, means I'm going to comment this part. So now let me check how we are going to. So now this part is done. So now I create an object for this one. So object is going to provide some error for us, that is nothing but inaccessible due to its protection level. If you are creating private, then it doesn't allows us to create an object. Okay, if you want to restrict an object creation, then only we can mark a constructor as a private, otherwise you don't mark it as a private constructor. Okay, this is the way of usage of constructors. Okay, we are left with static constructor. Okay, next topic we will discuss what is a static class. I think yeah, static variables, classes and methods. Okay, next we will discuss this topic, so that we will cover the static constructor also in this topic. If you know static variables, static classes, then only it is easy to understand what is a static constructor. Okay, hello, 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 hello.
Yeah. So
Rekha,
we finished with constructors, right?
yeah, we finished, but
Okay.
I didn't hear your response.
No, I muted myself because there was a lot of noise over here.
Yeah, that I understood, but I'm calling you, but you are not responding. That's the reason where I just pinged you.
Okay. No, I'm here only
Okay,
because the kids are making a lot of noise, so I
okay,
just.
okay, sure. I think this time is not comfortable for you, right? With your kids or something?
Actually, this time because my husband is not at home, but next Sunday he's going to be home. Or
Okay,
next Saturday, Sunday he's going to be home. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That is highly difficult to manage all these things for you, right?
Yeah, but it's just
Okay,
that this time, he
okay,
was traveling yesterday and his flight got cancelled. Otherwise, he's here on the weekend, so it's not a problem. So that's
okay.
why last night also was a little problem for me.
Oh yeah, okay. Okay, we'll go with an like static class, static methods, and then static constructor. Okay,
Okay.
tell me if you are
Okay.
not comfortable at any point of time. We'll just like disconnect and we'll continue this class as a remaining session, because if you don't have
Okay,
a,
I'll
that,
let you know.
yeah, if you don't have that much concentration or something, then definitely it is waste, right? So even we can,
Right.
yeah.
No,
But
no, we can continue for some more time. I'll just keep it on mute.
yeah, sure, we can.
Okay. So we are
Uh,
doing static variables
yeah,
and
static
classes.
variables, classes, and methods, and then static
Okay.
constructor. Okay.
Okay.
Suppose if we declare a variable as a static, then it indicates that it is an instance field. which means that memory is by defaultly created at the time of object creation. Object defaultly created, not at the time of object. See, so static is a keyword. If you declare any variable as a static, then we can call it as an instance field or instance variable. Means instance or instance field or instance variable means nothing but some amount of memory is already been allocated for that static variables. Okay. Generally, we no need to create an object. Why we are creating an object means why we are creating an object means we are allocating some amount of memory to the particular variables or particular members of a class. Whenever we mark a class as a static, then automatically static class will have some internal memory. We no need to create an external memory for the static members, so that we object creation is not at all mandatory for static classes. Just we'll use with the help of class names, and we will call what are the members that are associated with a particular static variable. Okay. So generally, if you want to declare any variable as a static int a equal to 10, like that you can declare. Okay. Say for example, if you want to create a static class, generally public static class and your class name, whatever the name that you want, you can create. Okay. Static class contains static members and non-static members. Static class contains static members and non-static members, which means that here we have a provision to create a non-static methods as well as static methods. Members also. Okay, so generally I would like to give an example, like so that we can understand very clearly. Just I want to create an example for static. Static class. Okay, stat.exe. Okay, so generally I would like to create one variable int a equal to, say for example, 10. Okay, so just I'm using console dot write line value of an a is, just I'm using static exe dot. So make, if the default access specifier member is private, right? So just you can give public static and then static int a. So just you can give a. Means without here object creation is not at all required. Just by using the name of the class we can call this variable. Just I'm using console dot read line. Value of an a is 10. Okay. See, if it is a static variable, automatically we can call those members, mean any static member with the help of a class name. So generally I want to declare one more method, public, okay, static void get length, okay, void get length. So just string name, just I want to print the my name, okay, my course name. So for example, my course name is, right. So now I want to call this method, okay. So in order to call this method, just I would like to declare course name. So just I'll ask the user to enter course name, course name. So cname equal to console dot readline. So now I'm going to access this method. Sorry, this is a string, right? You have to give it as a string. So string course name. So just I'm going to access this method. So static exe stat exe dot get length. So just I'm going to call this method. So here I need to pass cname as a parameter. Just I'm displaying this one. Please enter your course name. Just I entered C#.net. So my course name is C#.net. Means here what you observe is, so without creating an object for this class, we are directly accessing a static members. Okay, that is an advantage just when you mark a class as a static. Okay, say for example,
Okay.
if you want to declare a variable int b equal to 20, okay, public int b equal to 20, okay, you can't access this variable just like that as similar to your static variable, because it is a non-static variable. See, value of an b is plus static exe dot b. See, b is not accessible here because this is a
But
non-static.
but it's public, right?
Yeah,
So
it's a public, but it is a non-static variable. Okay,
okay.
means if there is no static, means that is nothing but non-static variable. In order to access this non-static variable, we have to create an object for a class. By using that
Okay.
object only, we have to call that. So now you can check obj dot your b will comes, right. So
Okay.
here it will provide some error to us. Cannot declare instance members in a static class. So here it is telling that don't declare instance members. So instance members is nothing but non-static variables. Okay. So generally we should avoid non-static variables to declare in a static class.
Okay.
Okay. So that if your intention is to call some variables without creating an object, then go for a static so that we can call at any time.
Okay.
Okay. So now comes to the static constructor. So this is our static constructor. Okay. So console dot write line. This is static constructor.
यार तू घर में ना रहने के लायक नहीं है क्यों कर रहा है अपना खेल तो क्यों नहीं चल रहा बैठ तू कर रहा है ये भाई क्यों कर रहा
Hello. Yeah. See, generally, this is the calling of your static constructor. Okay, static stat exe. So for
Okay.
static constructor, we have some rules. Okay, so first rule is don't mark static constructor with access modifier. Means don't give public or private or whatever the thing that you want. You won't give anything. If you are giving something, it is providing an error. Okay, don't mark static constructor with any access modifier. Okay, and as well as don't pass a parameter to a static constructor Okay, so don't pass any parameters to a static constructor. These are the things that that you have to memorize for a static constructor.
Okay.
Okay, so generally I will declare a static constructor here. Let us check how we will work with static constructor. Static C class. This is an example for static constructor. Okay, so I'm executing this one. So just I'll set this program to constructor exe. This is an example for static constructor. It called first, right? So generally, see, your static constructor is at last. Okay, your static constructor is at last, but your output is, you are getting output as a first. Okay, the thing is,
Okay.
if you have a multiple constructors in your class, first preference is going to your static constructor. It is executed at first. Okay, even though if you are creating multiple objects for the same class, so for example I am creating one more object obj3. Okay, suppose obj3, your normal constructors will call that many number of times, but your static constructor only calls at first time. Okay, your normal, see, these are the examples. Default constructor called here, value of a is 10, value of b is 12, like that we got an output. Why? Because we are creating a one more object here, but even though we are creating a new object, your static constructor won't call second time. It only calls at first time, even though you are creating multiple classes here itself. Okay,
Okay, that's good.
yeah, you got it right. So even though you are creating multiple objects for your class, your static constructor will calls only at one time, but not another time. But normal constructor calls at n number of times. How many number of objects you are creating, that many number of times it will calls. Okay, I think you understand what is a static variable, what is a static class, and what is a non-static variable, and what is a static constructor. Am I clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Yeah. Say for example, uh, I'll take one more class, that is nothing but normal
Okay.
class. Normal class. Okay. So I give name as a normal class here itself. Here I'm declaring one variable public int a equal to, like, 10. Okay, and then I'm taking one more variable public static int b. Okay, so now I'm creating an object. So I want to access a b here itself. Okay, so generally, so I'm displaying an output here, value of, so we'll give the names like this, lm. So value of l is So what is the name of our class? Normal class, right? So for this normal class we have to create an object. So my obj, I just gave a name, my obj equal to new normal class. Okay, just here I declared, so my obj dot l. See, we have two variables. Two variables are public variables here itself, lm, but only l is coming here. Okay, because l is a non-static variable. Okay, if you want to access m, value of m is, so just no need to create an object for normal class. Why?
This. Okay.
Because that is a static variable, right? We just call
Okay.
directly and we can execute whatever we want. So just I'm going to set a startup object for static exe. Go, please enter your course name. So C#.net. So value of L is 10, value of M is 0, because we are not giving any value to particular M, right? So that's the reason where it is providing 0 as an output. So now you can check C#.net. Value of M is 23. Okay,
Okay.
is it clear? So
Yes. Yes.
this, see, means in normal class we can create, we can non-static variables and static variables, but whereas in
Okay.
static classes we have to create only static variables.
Static variables. Okay.
Static variables and static methods. No need to create
Okay.
non-static methods. Okay, that is one funda related to static implementation. Okay,
Okay.
this ends your static variables, static classes, static methods, and static constructors and the whole constructor topic.
Okay.
Okay, next we will discuss polymorphism. So under polymorphism you will get method overloading. Okay,
Okay.
so just give me 1 minute. I just get.
Okay. Yeah.
So generally poly is a Greek word which means many,
Yeah.
which means many. Morphism means mechanisms. Okay, means
Okay.
using a same method, using a same method in different number of ways, number of ways. Then we can call, then we can call that method as an, that method as an polymorphism method. Okay, so generally this polymorphism will be divided into two types. One is static polymorphism and the second is dynamic polymorphism, or we can call it as late binding or early binding. Okay,
Okay.
so let us check what is static polymorphism. For static polymorphism, memory is created at compile time of a program. Memory is created at compile time of the program. Okay. For static polymorphism, method overloading and operator overloading are the examples. Okay. Now we'll check what is a method overloading. Okay, so let me brief. Polymorphism is nothing but using a same method in different number of ways. Okay,
Okay.
say for example, like consider one person. So suppose if I assign a one task to that person, if I'm getting a too many tasks, I assign one more task to him. Okay, even though I get so many number of tasks, and again I assign one more task, means a person is overloaded with a task. Means a same person will be utilized for a multiple number of tasks. Okay, we can call it as in generally that person is overloaded with the work. A similar way, if we have a method, if that method is going to perform some operation, okay, on top of it if you got some other operation, then again we create a same method, and we differentiated the functionality, again we provide some functionality there itself. Means my method, likewise if you have too many implementations, I can make use of my method in different number of ways, so that we can call it as an overloaded method. Okay, same method is used in the different number of ways or different number of forms, then we can call it as a method overloading. Means that particular method is overloading. Okay, so I'll provide it. Method overloading loading is in process of using a same method with differentiating of signature differentiating of signature, which means that in order to overload a method, it should possess following properties. Name of the method is same. Okay, and then number of parameters should differ. Okay, certain type of parameter we won't consider. So for example, I would like to create one method like public void add of int a comma int b. Okay, and again I create one more method, public void add int p. Then we'll call these two methods as a overloaded method. Means overloaded, when we call, if both method names should same, then only we'll call it as overloaded method. Signature is nothing but parameters of a method. So here I taken two parameters, but here I taken only one parameter. Means my signature is different. So then I can call it as an um, overloaded method. Okay, let me show an example like how we will work with method overloading.
But they both have different number of parameters, right? So
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
cannot do method overloading.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling. Number of parameters
Okay.
differ. So
It's different.
yeah,
Okay.
that is nothing but signature. Signature is nothing but a number of parameters that they want to consider property.
Okay.
Not only a number of parameters and as well as type of parameter. If we have a two parameters and even though the parameters data type is different, then also we'll call it as a method overloading.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll do different examples so that it will be very clear for me. So just I'm taking a class as a poly. Hmm? I'm just taking a class as a poly. Here I want to take public void add. So we'll take a simple example so that it is very clear to understand.
Okay.
Addition of a by a plus b. Okay. So now I want to take one more method, long a long b. So just I copy the same and I'll paste this here itself. Just I'm going to create an object for poly, object of add of. Suppose here I'm going to pass 1020. So and then again obj dot add of. See here it is showing one of two, right? Here see long A long B like that
Yes.
it is also. So you can pass 1000 and 2000. Okay, console dot
Okay.
red line. So addition of 10 and 20 is 30, addition of 1000, 2000 is 3000. So likewise we'll get an output, right? So
Right.
here also two parameters, but here also two parameters. But signature is different. Here long parameters, they're integer parameters, right?
Okay.
Say for example, I would like to take public void add just int p. Okay, just value of p is, so just will display value of p. That's it. Okay, if you want to call obj dot add 45.
Okay.
Okay, just we'll get value of 45. Now
Okay.
I'm going to create one more method, public, okay, int add of, okay, int p comma int q comma I just print int p only. Okay, just return p. Okay, so now do
Okay.
you accept that this is an overloaded method as per our condition? See here return type is always same. Okay, if we change return type means then it is asking, it is providing an error for us. Okay, so defines a member called add with the same parameter type. So generally here we declare a method p, right? So with the same parameter, so means counter parameter is same, so then it won't accept. Okay, so if you want to do overloading, then your parameter should be mandatory, so which is as similar to an existing method. Okay, we always change only this number of parameters or as well as type of parameters, that only we have to consider. This is not an overloading method. Okay, this part. Okay, so this ends your overloading concept. Means the same method will be used in too many number of times. Got it? Hello?
Getting it.
Hello?
Yeah, Lorin, I got it. But what is the practical use of it? It's just that.
Uh, Practical use means, see, generally I have one implementation. I want to provide the same implementation for too many number of times, right?
Okay.
So the same
Okay.
implementation you can do in different number of times. Then we can go with this polymorphism. Okay,
Okay.
if you don't want to change the name of a method, then if you want to do perform the different operation, then it is in best alternative technique.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, that
Okay.
scenario you have to, like, you have to get it.
Okay.
Okay, so this is nothing but your method overloading. So
Okay. And there's something like method overriding also,
yes,
right?
yes, yes. So in
So is
method overloading is nothing but dynamic polymorphism. Okay, here
yeah.
in this,
Method overloading is dynamic.
no, static overloading is static
Yeah.
polymorphism. Overriding comes
Okay.
under dynamic polymorphism.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
In this, memory is
At
allocated
runtime.
at runtime.
Okay.
Okay. So now let us check. Whenever we are going to deal with dynamic polymorphism, okay, means nothing but method of overriding concept. So we are overriding with an existing functionality. Say for example, I have a method in my class. So if I want to override that class, if I want to override that method, then I have to inherit that method into a different class. Okay, so that we can call it as a method overriding in different class itself. For overloading we are dealing with the same class, but overriding we are dealing with a different class. Okay, let me explain how we are going to work with an overriding. So for example, I would like to take a class as my poly itself. Okay, here I want to provide, like, I want to declare one method here itself. Okay, get total info. Okay,
Okay.
get total info. Suppose here I'm asking a user to enter some value, like enter basic selling price basic selling price. So just I would like to take selling price equal to 0, so under basic selling price. So now selling price equal to convert dot to int 32 of console dot read line. Just I'm taking this selling price. Now I would like to create total int, sorry, I would like to take a decimal total cost equal to TOT cost equal to selling price into 15, means 15% of sales tax. We'll consider that. So of 100.
Okay.
Okay. So now, so selling price is I'll display it as a selling price. Now total cost including with service tax is, so for example, TOT cost. Okay, like that I declare one method, okay, in my class. Okay, now I'm going to create one more class, my poly 1. This is my poly. I'm inheriting my class, my poly here itself. Okay, now when I'm going to inherit here itself, just I'm providing public void get total info method here itself. Just I display something here. I'm going to create an object for my poly. I'm creating obj dot get total info. I'm just calling this one. Okay, I'm going to create a startup object for this. Okay, hello, hello, hello.
Yeah, I'm here. It was only on mute. I'm here only.
Okay, okay.
If I don't understand, I'll ask you something. Yes.
Yeah, this is purely new thing that you understand
So
this thing.
this thing that you use my poly
Oh,
one
yeah.
colon my poly. This is the first time we're using that, right?
Yes,
That's like
yes.
inheritance.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
inheritance. Means whenever we are
Okay.
dealing with a method overriding concept, we are dealing with outside of a class. Okay, so that this is outside of my poly class. Means here get total info we already have some definition. So I don't want to display this definition. Just I'm overriding with a new definition. Okay, that's the reason this is not being calling, only this one is calling. So when I executing this program, my total info, this is the output for us, means existing method is overriding in our latest class. So this is nothing but our the method overriding, means we are overriding our class itself. Means when overriding comes to the picture, means say for example here I'm just same copy paste the same thing here. So this is the selling price. Say for example, tomorrow government is going to increase the sales, like sales tax, service tax to 18% from 15 to 18%. So just we need to provide a new definition for the tax calculation, right? Get total info. So generally, see, when I'm going to call this, then automatically it is asking this information. Enter basic selling price. Say for example 1200. So selling price is 1200 and total cost including with service tax. So selling price into 1800. Okay. So hello. So let me debug this one. So this is the actual calculation. So selling prices to 1200 and including with service taxes 216 selling price plus 216 1200. So total cost including with service taxes 1416. So likewise means we are overriding 15% to 18%. So in this way we are going to calculate. So we are going to override an existing functionality. Suppose if already functionality is declared, then if you want to update that functionality, then we will go with the method of overriding concept. Okay? Hello?